Hello. Okay, that looks like my sound's coming through, which is perfect. Wasn't before. How bizarre. But it appears to be working. Awesome. Hello, everybody. I don't know how many people we've got watching, but I'm sure it'll pick up as we go through the stream. So last time we left off... Hello. Okay, that looks like... Oh, blimey, I can hear myself. Excellent. So I know what the lag is on the stream as well. Awesome. I scared myself then. Okay, so last time we were playing along with this, we had our skeleton. We'd just been playing with the backbone here, and we discovered... I mean, I kind of knew it was there in the background, but it was an awesome discovery that we could use an array modifier along a curve and then tweak the properties of that curve and actually get basically thickness going on, which is really awesome and really, really flexible. Pardon the pun. So the whole idea today is to finish off the rib cage, obviously the shoulder blades there, and our head. I will be making the lower part of the jaw, but I don't know if our characters in game will have it or not. But yeah, let's make sure I can see the chat as well, in case anybody's got any questions, jokes, or whatever as we go. Excellent. That's not formatted very well. Excellent, I can see the chat. Hi, everyone. Live streaming is always great fun. Hey, right. That was really weird. The chat itself was kind of all squished up in the top corner. Really tiny. Good formatting. Okay, I presume I've zoomed in on my browser or something at some point. Right, let's get going. The first thing I do want to do, just to kind of get a feel of how the whole thing's looking, is start doing some mirroring. Because then it just feels like it's more complete, you know, rather than just leaving as it is. So I'll hide some stuff out of the way for the moment. And we've got an annotation here. So let's also just, where's annotations these days? Under view, down the bottom. Yeah. Let's just get rid of that. Okay, cool. Great time-saving tip here is I want to mirror around a common center point. So let's go in and add an empty and make sure the empty's position is 0, 0, 0 down at the bottom here. With the empty selected, let's rename it a mirror point, or just mirror, so we can find it easily. Let's find one of these bones we want mirrored around the other side and add a mirror modifier and make the mirror object of that modifier. And we can type here. That's why it's good to name things. We've already got quite a complex model going on here. And there we go. We've got the bone on the other side. Now, instead of doing the same process to everything else, I'm just going to highlight everything else that I want to have the same modifier, which is why I'm doing the mirror modifier first here and not adding anything extra. And then select the bone that we had the mirror modifier on first, and then we can go Control and L and link to the modifiers, copy modifiers it's now called. There we go. That looks so much better now. I should have done it earlier. I was wondering about the hands earlier, whether or not they were back to front, and I might have been modeling this way around or something. But it does depend on whether your palms are forward or palms are back. Now, since I'm using the same rig on every animation, it's probably a good idea to make sure that the palms forward or palms back is the same on those characters. So I'm going to have to, I'll just save my file, quickly hop over here. The neutral state of this character, Aria, I don't know what it is. So let's make sure we've got the armature selected. Go to the armature's properties and put her in a rest position. So essentially, okay, we've not set up this inner T pose yet, but we're going to have to, I think palms backwards is most natural. So recover, no, we just want to open, there we go, skeleton. Excuse me. So let's get the skeleton here with its thumbs inwards rather than thumbs out. Now, we don't want to rotate absolutely everything, but yeah, I do want to rotate quite a bit here. Now, rotate on the Z-axis. Can I get away with doing that? I might be able to, actually. That doesn't look too bad. There's a little bit of positioning still need to be done, but I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that looks much better. Awesome. These other bits of the leg here, I've not got my reference material open yet, but I think these can be moved in ever so slightly as well. I'm just eyeballing this for the moment. Didn't like them being too separated. Perfect. Nice. Yes, yes, I was umming and ahhing. I tried to get it in last night actually, but I was coughing so much. I was like, that's not going to be a pleasant live stream for anybody to watch. So I decided, nope, we can leave it to another time. Um, ribs. Let's do ribs. I don't know what the ribs look like, so let's turn on our reference material. And so we're definitely going to be using a mirror modifier on these ribs. And it looks like the sternum. This is the sternum, isn't it? So we're going to have probably keep that as part of the ribs, make the ribs just one big mesh, and then work from there. They're all going to come from the vertebrae. I think we have one rib per vertebrae, I think. And then the collarbone attaches to the front or the top of the sternum. Okay. So how many ribs do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 20 in total. So 10 vertebrae. And which rib? I'm not sure if we've got the right number at the back here, but if we start from this vertebrae here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does that seem reasonable? That does. Okay, cool. So, and it's going to be an interesting shape to try and model. I wonder whether to actually make it attached to the rest of the body or just fake it. Because I could quite easily set up some loop cuts here so that as a solid object, that everything just works together. I am very tempted to do that. It's always a tough decision when you're making any model. You know, how do we start? I'm going to try that. Let's make the rib cage as a solid block and then cut the ribs from it instead. This will also help govern how detailed it is. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use a cylinder instead, and 32 is far too many. Let's try this again, Mike, and probably 8. I think 8 will be 8 to 12. I'm going to give myself 12 because I can always dissolve the edges later on. And I need to cut this straight in half straight away. So let's go ahead, wireframe mode, vertex select mode, and just get rid of this half of the model. Okay, cool. Let's scale this in. I mean, that's essentially a rib cage straight away. We just need to make sure it's the right shape and size. So let's bring this up. It's going to be tilted as well. But again, I'm not going to worry too much about that. I just want to get the overall shape sorted first and then worry about the fact that the rib cages are kind of scooping round as they go. Okay. And of course, that's not the right shape at all, but it's the right starting shape, which is what we care about. The first thing I think I'm going to do is at the front here, add in a bit of geometry. So I have space for the sternum, essentially. And then I think getting a bit of extra geometry in here and playing around is going to be what we need to do. Again, I'm not going to go too detailed just yet. I want the base geometry there to begin with, and then we can add additional geometry as we go. I think that's actually a little too much as well. Maybe something like that. Okay, let's make this match from the front. It's always going to be fun to do. Yeah, let's use proportional editing as well to help move all of this. So it's going to drop quite dramatically from the front to the back by the looks of things. So we are going to need a little bit of extra geometry there so I can control that, literally that fall off. So let's bring this in, maybe there, pull this one down. That's a reasonable shape. And again, if I can move some of this geometry down at the same time, thus giving us more options further down, instead of just keep adding geometry all the time. Okay, this side bit can definitely start coming in, and then this will come down to the bottom there. So I think that's a nice overall shape for what we're trying to make. And then this needs to come up. How high? Probably about there. That's not far from it, you know. That's pretty close. And we've got the curvature in the base geometry as well. That's really important because as we're moving things around, we want to make sure that the underlying geometry reflects everything else that we're working on. And of course, that dips down here. We need to sort out how how the rib cage flows. I'm going to open up my Pure Ref. I was using this last time. In case a couple of people were wondering, I use Pure Ref for my reference material. And there we go. We've got our skeleton there. And it's a very, very good program. If you've not used it before, I'd highly recommend it. If we go Pure Ref, it'll probably remember. Here we go. So Pure Ref, free to use as well, which is absolutely phenomenal. If you can afford to donate to the developers, even better. But yeah, Pure Ref allows you to just dump artwork in and manipulate it very, very quickly, which is awesome. And I will continually have that now, I think, to the side. Right-click moves around the blooming window. Yeah, it's one of these programs with a slightly different paradigm of how it works, which is not ideal, but there we go. So we've got the ribs here. This is what they follow the spine and then they puff out. So we can work from there. Awesome. Dear, dear, dear. Excuse me. Right. So we need to follow the spine to begin with. So let's get that sorted. Where's the spine? So it's this lot here. I'm going to turn off X-ray mode so I don't inadvertently select the wrong bunch. So this lot here needs to be aligned with the spine. So let's go GY and pull it in. And just expand our selection so we can do that for the entire model. Oh, silly me. I just right-clicked as I was doing that. Not deliberately, but just because I'm a bit clumsy from time to time. Right, let's move this bit in as well. I can highly recommend things like this. Proportional editing is so useful. And let's pull these in as well. And again, we don't have to be 100% accurate here. We do, however, need to be... we probably need to change how this looks from the side. So let's play with that as well. It's almost like he's got a jacket on at the moment, which is, well, I find it quite funny. Whether or not it is funny, I don't know. Is it funny? Let me know. So this need to puff out the chest, but in a sensible manner. So again, tweak backwards and forwards. This is kind of the less glamorous side of any modeling or any artwork, is where you just start doing the repetitive things. So this comes out and then back up. So we can pull this in as well. Oh, these bits at the back aren't in line, are they? Goes far too far out. So yes, we need to move that back in with the spine itself. Let's go to wireframe mode. Make that a bit bigger, a bit smaller. Whoop. Then pull this round. Excellent. Because we don't want the rib cage doing its own thing. We want it part of the spine and flowing around. Right. I'm not happy with the way that it dips down and backs up it and goes back up again. So we'll have to play with what geometry is going on here. Should it be like that? Let's imagine the rib is coming round. Yeah, okay. Don't want it going back up again, I don't think. I think that's the mental issue that I have with that particular one, because they start higher up and they come down lower. There we go. Something like that. Yeah, and maybe smooth this out so it's not so sharp coming down. Okay. Again, I'm just aligning things to make most of the geometry that's here. I think that's a reasonable shape for the rib cage, and in some aspects, having like a texture on there would be far more efficient. You know, a texture of some ribs rather than trying to actually make the ribs. But I'm going to make the ribs in this particular case. Again, if I have geometry that I can manipulate and change round, it's going to enable me to have rib cages on the floor, or even break rib cages apart and make a ton of other assets. As I was mentioning last time, I want to make sure that this model I can reuse as many times as possible, so I get a lot of use out of it. So that does drop down like this and come round, so that's fine. Next thing is actually creating the ribs from here. I haven't thought ahead too much, but I do want to playlet. And I've got shoulder bone to put in here as well. That looks like a relatively easy shape. I don't think that's going to be as nasty as the blooming hip bone was. And I'm still not 100% happy with the hip. I'm very, very tempted to buy a full-size skeleton. I almost did. Which is a bit nutty, but yeah, that's how I roll. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a nice shape, and that works really well. I do want to have a little bit of a protrusion down here, and I'm going to scale that in slightly. In fact, let's put a mirror modifier on this object so we get the feel of the full skeleton, so we can look at it as a whole. And again, the mirror object, I know it's got its origin in the center, but I want to make sure that the mirror object is that mirror point down there. And I do want clipping turned on so I can deal with this horrible mess I've caused myself in the middle here. So we have geometry pushed through itself, but as soon as I bring it back to the middle, we should be good. Nice. Okay. So there are a couple of ways that I could do the ribs here. The first way would be to grab each one of these lines going across and maybe add in a bevel. So if you grab an edge loop and add in a bevel, you essentially get, for want of a better description, a rib. Or I could add in extra loop cuts and delete geometry. I may go either way, I'm not sure. But one thing I do want to make sure is that this underlying geometry is following the right shape, the shape that I want, rather than just going straight across like this, because the bones do need to follow around. And I think this area here needs to be brought in slightly as well, rather than being stuck out. So let's bring that in now. That's too much. I think I'm going to have to do some of this a bit slower rather than just grabbing everything, unfortunately. Hey, that's almost there. Again, I'm trying to keep the curvature positive and not go in where it's not necessary. Let's hide the image, because the image itself is causing this sort of invisible blocking. Well, it is invisible until you zoom out, but it's kind of very distracting that I can't see the geometry I'm working on. So let's hide that out of the way. And whilst I'm here, I've noticed I've not been doing a ton of naming, but these ribs shall get a name. Okay, so most of these bones come down from the back, and then they only scoop up, if they do scoop up, closer to the front. So there certainly needs to have this geometry. It needs to start off high, like so. And I think I am going to manually adjust most of these. Start off high and loop round. So let's turn off, whatchamacallit? What is it called? Proportional editing. So that's good. I'm not too keen on that very sharp angle there. So maybe if I bring that around to about here. Need to be careful with pulling things around when I'm not in an orthographic projection, as it'd be very easy at that point to cause myself issues. And I don't want to do that. So let's pull these down. I'm going to make sure I very specifically move them on an axis, and then it can loop back up. So this starts at this height and does drop down. It's not dropping down evenly though, so I do want to make sure it's a nice smooth transition. And again, start higher up, drop down. Probably even down here, and then come back up like so. Pressing G twice allows you to slide vertices and edges along themselves. This sternum has puffed out massively, and we don't want it puffing out massively. We want it pretty much in line with where the ribs are. Again, not perfect, but close enough. That looks good to me. Okay, so we're starting up high, coming round, and let's do the same here. Start up slightly higher. Aha. Can't forget about our hidden vertex in the middle. Oh, I say hidden vertex. There's literally a hidden vertex. Nice. Okay, perfect. This needs to be brought up, and I'll do the same here as well before bringing this lot down. maybe not quite as extreme as I had it before. And everybody's built differently, so you can get away with a multitude of different shapes anyway. The boring part of modeling. I did wonder if you're listening at the moment, would you find a little bit of like background music? I've got licensed music I can use. Would you find that useful, distracting, annoying? Why have I got vertices? Just what am I doing? How have I generated those? This is one of these things where I have to watch back my videos sometimes because I wonder how some things actually happen. This is a bit wide here, so let's go G and X and pull it in, and I think the same here. So when I was creating this bit, I wasn't really thinking about the fact that it's mirrored, therefore it would be twice as thick as what I had before. So let's sort that out. And the top here, this is where our collarbone's also going to come to. And the sternum itself is quite large, so might end up separating it out. Again, got to work on not getting it too detailed. Got to always remember this is a low poly-ish model. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Who we got there? Akash, hello, how you doing? Saw someone joined out the corner of my eye. Getting better at noticing. It's really bizarre, you know. I'd like to engage with everybody while I'm on here as well. So if you do say something and I miss it, it's just because you guys are over there, not on top of my screen at the moment. Perhaps that's something I can change. You know, if I do more live streaming, I'll get better at it and I'll be able to communicate better. Right, let's go ahead. Oh, let's sort out this mirroring issue. See that we've got a problem at the back here. Let's sort that out first. I think that's probably sorted. No, that's made the problem worse just there. Let's just move it slightly. Yeah, that looks better. Perfect. Okay, now we've sorted that out. Let's focus on these ribs. So we're needing, how many was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, kind of 10 in total. Which should be interesting. How many edge loops do I have at the moment? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we could do that. I'm trying to keep these relatively sort of like the same distance. Excuse me. I'm going to separate out the sternum, essentially, so that I don't have any edge loops, so I can use it properly, basically. And I'm just going to press... Oh, do I want to separate as a separate object or just rip it from the model? So I can press Y, and now that's completely separate mesh data. I think that's probably the best way to go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can make a low poly one with just 5 ribs. That is a possibility. I kind of like that. Let's try it with more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, more or less. More or less. Feel like there needs to be another one at the top here, regardless, because it's not got the right number of them running down. And don't worry about spacing here. I mean, I can select edge loops, press GG, and lift them up where needed. But it is moving the underlying geometry as well. Let's just undo that for a second. Where I separated it out. Where did I separate it out? Okay, they're still all one at that point. I think I've duplicated some. I think I did duplicate it at some point. So let's just merge by distance. Okay, that's just my eyes then. Easily enough done. Let's go back to a previous life where we had less geometry. Okay. So I think I want to add 3 there. So that's 1, 2. This will be the 3rd one here. Then we have a gap, and then 4th one. And we have a gap, and then 5th one. I know I'm doing this kind of manually at the moment, but I need to make sure I keep count. So if we add that many there, and that many there. We've got a ton of geometry, but we can simplify later on. Let's select the edge loop running around there and these three here. Press Y to separate that mesh data out. It's out of the way now. And we want to delete this one, delete this one, delete that one, this one. I end up with too many now, haven't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I could just delete this bottom one as well. Perfect. Delete those faces. We have a rib cage. And of course, you may be thinking at the moment, but Mike, if you import this into a game engine, because I've not got back face culling turned on, the back of the rib cage will be invisible. Well, don't worry. Most game engines do have two-sided rendering, but it can be very non-performance, shall we say. But, you know, we can just add a solidify modifier, and we've got ourselves a rib cage. And I like it. I like it a lot. It also means that I can grab the sternum that we had earlier and pull it forward slightly, or pull it up and forward slightly. But if I pull it forward and then pull it up, it's now kind of linked in, but it's also its separate object. Nice. Shoulder blade. I'm happy with that. That was nice and productive. Shoulder blades. Let's add in what shape are the shoulder blades? Yeah, we can work with a cube on this one. Nice one, Mike. Actually, no, we will work with a plane and we will just solidify it to make our lives easier. We'll get the shape right and then just solidify it. Okay, happy accident. That's fine. Says one thing, does another. Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do, children. Here we go. Let's put it roughly in the right place. Let's turn back face culling off for the moment. I mean, with going into a game engine, it is really important to make sure you're aware back face culling is a thing, but also your normals. So one of the best ways is going to the drop down under your viewport overlays and going to face orientation. By doing that, we can visually see, here we go. We have got part of our model inside out. So that's something I will actually go and fix now. Otherwise, I'll forget. Alt and N, flip those normals. Nope, Alt and N, calculate outside. There we go. Everything being blue is what we want. Nice. Shoulder blade time. So the shoulder blade basically looks triangular in its shape. So we don't need too much geometry here. Let's go into edit mode and add in maybe 2 loop cuts this way and 1 this way, I think, looking at the shape. Let's pull it back, select everything, go GY, just pop it back here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So it will come up. Oh, maybe actually we need yeah, we do need another edge loop here. So let's bring this one down and add another edge loop at the top here. Whether or not it's simplifying geometry later or sorting stuff out now, I think it's a good idea to just be aware. The more geometry you have, kind of the more difficult it is to maintain everything. So we have that there. It certainly doesn't come across this far. So let's grab this edge, GX, and pull it across. It comes out to about there. I think that's fair. Again, GG to move this across, and this one as well, just to maintain equal distance. How far down does it come? About, well, actually it's a bit high at the moment. It needs to be, the top of it will be roughly in line with the shoulder, and the bottom of it will be roughly in line with halfway down the rib cage, which I don't know, is that gap in the rib cage too big? I'm going to grab the rib cage and scale it on the Z axis and then just go GZ, pull it down a little. There we go. That looks better. Yes, much better. So let's have it follow some of the curvature as well. Pull that forward. Perfect. We're going to have this coming down and then up again. That's interesting. I'm going to get rid of this edge for the moment. I don't think I'm going to need it. Oh, let's get rid of the vertices. Your skeleton has a square thing. It does. Hi, Jan. How are you doing? I think we are going to have this ready for today as well, by the looks of things. The rib cage was fun. And yeah, I didn't expect it to actually get done as quickly as that, which I'm always, always happy with when something doesn't take as long as I think it's going to, because often in life it's very much the other way around. Let's bring this up, this in, maybe something like that. Have we got the right kind of curvature there? All about the curvature. So that's just a little bit too far back. Pull this across a little. So we've got it coming up and then flaring out again. I think if we move this set of geometry up, I can achieve that without adding extra geometry. And let's add in a mirror modifier. Set the mirror object to the mirror empty that we've got. And then we need solidify and make it a bit thicker. Ooh, there we go. Got ourselves our shoulder bones. Wait a minute. Scapula. There we go. You've learned something. Well, you might not have learned. You might have already known that. Yeah, that looks good. And the collarbone. That's another one. So where does the collarbone come from? It comes from the top of the scapula and it comes across to the very top of... Again, I'll bring this on screen. It comes up and across. No wonder that's such an easy bone to break. Again, I think we're going to go to our reference bone, our play bone, wherever that is. So let's search for it. Basic bones just off here to the side. Let's grab that, duplicate it, hide the original out the way again. Let's add a mirror modifier set to the mirror. Should type. There we go. Let's add this in place. Let's go ahead and rotate this round. Perfect. Nailed it. This needs to be a lot smaller. There we go. And that's probably, by the way, how the femur? Yep, how the femur actually ended up being inverted. I probably scaled something through itself, because when you do that, it can just scale back up again, but the wrong way, which is no good. Let's look down on the model and spin this round so it's roughly in the right place, and then we can add all the bendiness that we need. Let's have a look again at the reference. So it kind of goes along our bone first. So it'll come along here, then it'll go up and over. So let's make sure proportional editing is turned on, and we can move things around. That's a bit horrible. One thing to watch out here, I was mentioning this last time, was this kind of shearing effect. So occasionally you have to rotate the geometry you have selected. By rotating it, you can keep everything kind of lined up, so it doesn't feel like it's being skewed all the time. It's difficult to do if you have already twisted something off axis like I have done, because rotating this won't quite have the same effect. It will still twist it slightly. Now I don't need all of this geometry, so I'm going to dissolve. That was weird. I should just be able to dissolve this set of geometry here without it doing what it just did. So dissolve edges. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Let's grab this ball here. Make sure we've got X-ray mode turned on, and pull this lot. Pull this lot down. Probably rotate and pull this lot along as well. Yeah, this needs to be a bit smoother. And I'm just having a look. Yeah, it needs to kind of follow the rib cage a little bit more, I think. So come along here first. So perhaps we do need that extra geometry. I'll find out in a moment. Nah, that's fine. The other thing I do want to do is extend this along here, and then probably flatten that down a little as well, because that area kind of sits flat on the chest rather than is this big bulbous thing that sits up. So if we grab this, all of this geometry that's just here, and that one there. No, I'm going to do it to quite a bit of it. Scale on the X-axis? No. Y. I just want to flatten it down slightly. Yeah, that looks better. Now I can hopefully place this on the top of our model. Make sure X-ray mode is turned on. And then we can place it kind of here. Rotate it. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and we need to just sort out the angle of the rest of these bones here. Something along those lines. I'm having a look at the... Is there a top down here? No, it's not. So it's just coming along and laying flat, which is what we've got. And it just follows the ribs curvature by the looks of it. Awesome. I'm going to try and fix the combination animations. Yes. So that's a lot of fun that Jan's doing at the moment. We've got animations together. We want to be able to swing and attack and swing without the animation resetting back to the very first animation, which, well, not the very first, but its previous state. It just doesn't look quite right. We're so close to getting there. Let's rotate this around slightly. Ooh, and lift this up. There we go. Oh, did I want to rotate that? No, let's not rotate it quite like that. Certainly not without proportional editing turned on, so we get more of the model twisting. What we don't want is the model twisting too much in one direction, because otherwise it's very noticeable, is the plain answer there. Why not to do it? Right, because it's in X-ray mode, I can't see how much of this I've pushed through the model. The answer is a lot of it. So let's bring this back, turn off X-ray mode for the moment, and lift that up. In fact, I can probably lift a lot of that up. Again, because I've got proportional editing turned on here, I can just lift up everything, rotate that around. There we go. Nice. Okay, final thing here is the skull, which is going to be a pain in the backside. How's the skull even attached? Kind of goes up in the middle. So we've got the neck coming up, then we've got the head on top. But again, I want to keep it relatively low poly, if that's at all possible. What's the time? 15:34. Brilliant. Let's go ahead. Have we got a top to these? Yeah, we have. Okay. Let's go and add in. What should we add in? I think with the nature that we're working with, we can probably start with a quad sphere. I don't have one of those by default. Not to worry. Scale Z. Well, not just Z. Scale 0.4. Lift that up. Oh, still needs to be a lot smaller. So a quad sphere is a subdivided sphere, essentially. That's far too much geometry, probably about that level. So if you don't know about the shortcut here, you can add a subdivision surface modifier at any point by pressing Control and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can we do 7? Does it go that high? No. The highest it will go is 6, and we don't want that amount of detail. There we go. That looks better. And we want to apply that. So over on the modifiers tab, we can either apply it or Control and A, and then we've got actual geometry we can play with. So we've got a jaw area down here. Let's get rid of half of this as well, and turn on our lovely mirror modifier, set to the mirror empty. Nice. Now I not necessarily struggle, but it's always challenging to try and make the jaw area on a head, and especially so because it's going to be separate at this particular point in time. So we've got the neck. Let's put it in place, which is about here, give or take. Then the jaw itself is going to be this selection of geometry, really, and it's going to be separate. So we might as well separate it straight away. Again, the Y key to separate that out. Can I? It's more of a rhetorical question. Can I just flatten that out? Let's make sure connected only is turned on. Scale Z 0. Make sure we don't have a whopping great big gap there. And then just, oh yeah, that kind of works. Kind of works as a jaw. Then I can extrude that down slightly. And of course the mouth is at the front here. And we can just pull that out. Hey, that has worked much better than I anticipated it working, which I am happy with. There is no nose. Skeletons don't have noses. They do have a whopping big hole, though. There's a couple of ways. Ooh, he's very wide-jawed. So, yeah, that kind of worked and kind of didn't at the same time. I think we're going to have to add a solidify modifier to the skull itself. I don't know how thick skulls are, but 4 centimeters will do. That's a bit like Homer Simpson's X-ray scans. Nice. Yeah, that's not the right shape underneath at all. It does need to come somewhat to, not to a point, but it can't be like that. Ah, I've not got clipping turned on. There we go. See if we can just be a bit hacky and use proportional editing to sort this out. Kind of. Maybe pull this bit up slightly as well as it comes in and round. Something like that. I don't know what the back of a jaw looks like. It's just a hollow thing. In which case, we don't really want this being a solid object. Let's delete those faces. Yeah, 4 centimeters is far too thick. There we go. That's more representative. Just having a look here, the back of a jaw. Yeah, it's just hollow. So weird because it's not something I've actually physically played with. It's very difficult to. Yeah, I'm going to get a skeleton at some point. When I do, I'll show it off, and then give 10 reasons why you shouldn't own your skeleton or something like that. Something nice and clickbaity. Now the jaw itself, I've kind of separated it up here, but I didn't want it to separate up there. I only wanted the jaw part to be separate, because then you've got the teeth at the front, which actually belong to the top of the skull. So let's merge those at distance. Then we need to cut this jaw off, probably back here. And then we could just shift bits forward. I wonder. If we bring this down, is that too far forward? Definitely want these 2 bits here and that. But this jaw piece does kind of come up and round. So before I separate it, I think it would be fair to pull this forward slightly, like so. Maybe even this one as well, to try and keep edge flow nice and even across the face. Yeah, I think that's good. Right, come back out, and now we want to keep this part of our model and keep it separate. So I'm going to press Y to keep it separate. That's kind of worked. It's kind of made a mess of things as well, because, under here. There we go. Perfect. And any of this solidify modifier causing us an issue, we'll have to sort it out in a bit. But we should now have a separate jaw. In fact, if we just move it out of the way for the moment and see what else is causing our issue. There's some internal geometry. That was causing our problem. And again, this bit at the back here is not actually here. So we can get rid of that. So instead of actually moving this around, I can just hide it out of the way with the H key. Boom, done. Yeah, I think here, and here definitely needs to go. That just looks weird because the jaw kind of comes up. So let's get rid of that. And then let's grab this vertex here and kind of put it roughly up in the middle. Or we can have a triangle. I don't want a triangle. So let's kind of put it there, put it out slightly. There you go. Does that look right? No, that doesn't look right. I think just getting rid of all of this will be the right thing to do. Let's bring our jaw back. No, we do definitely need some of this back here. So let's bring all of that back. So we've got this coming round and stopping there. Then we've got the jaw coming out. I just think I haven't made the jaw low enough compared to this particular image. I think that's not the issue or so, but the feeling I'm getting here is that this bit needs to be elongated. Scale Z. If only that was that could be the shortcut to many things, but it, unfortunately, it isn't going to solve this. I will move this area down ever so slightly, but on top of that, I will move this one up, thus flattening the area as it comes round, and that looks a ton better. It's still stuck out far too far here. How have I not seen that? It's very square-jawed. That's much better. Nice. Right, skeletons have holes in their head. I am very tempted to just... so the eye would roughly be here. So I could... yeah, why not? Let's just see how that looks if I delete the faces. That looks more like a piece of armor now. Oh, man. I need to take a copy of all of this, duplicate it, and just call it helmet. Select it first, out, move it over here. I don't know which one I've got selected. That's annoying. Which one is it? I just did a video on this. There's a key you can hold down to select. Okay, let's select one of them and call it helmet. And just hide it out of the way. I didn't duplicate it. Oh, did I duplicate it while in? Separate it by selection. There we go. Call that one helmet. Move it to a collection. And I'm going to call the collection Happy Accidents. Accidenta? There we go. And then hide it out of the way. Right. Let's hope I didn't duplicate a ton of mesh data. No. Have we still got the collection? I've just done a series of undos I probably didn't want to do. Yes, we still got it separate. So we don't need as area as big as that, but I think having the actual loop cut going around is very useful because it's going to enable us to, and I hope... Oh, have we got geometry on top of ourselves here? Or have I... Oh, I've unhidden the helmet. There we go. All right, let's make this into more of an eye shape. That's quite close. I mean, the eyes are these huge, great big spheres. That can do for the moment. And the nose. There's a whopping great big hole here where a nose would be. And I could... Yeah, I think I will. I'll grab this vertex here and move it down because the nose comes quite a bit lower than the... Yeah, than that does. And I think I could inset here, but turn on border. Oh, what's happening around here? That's not behaving out how I would expect it to. I will just grab the knife tool if I can't work out why. Okay, no double edging or anything. That's interesting. So, yeah, I'm just going to grab the knife tool at this point. So it's going to come to here. Come to hit here and then come down again. Just trying to work out a shape for our teeth as well. Something like that. Now, whether or not I need it as quad topology, it's a skull, it's rigid, it's not going to be flexing. So I could probably not worry about that, is the short answer. If it does become an issue, then of course it is something I'll look at. Right, the jaw itself comes in. So this is where we can start separating out, well, it is already slightly separated out, but separating out our mesh and just saying, here, look, the jaw itself is separate from the rest of the body. But I do want to keep things in line at this point. So I'm going to turn the snapping to edge and, you know, show that it's not snapping to edge. There we go. So that's something to just watch out there is... Do I want it snapping to edge? No, I don't. Looking at this, I do not want that. This should go over that jaw. By the looks of things. And, okay. Why is that separated? Ah, no. I've separated the wrong thing at some point. Let's just bring this down and out of the way. So the jaw's fine, but we need the top bit, the cheekbone, essentially, to go over the top of that. So we can bring it in slightly, and then... Is that still separate there? It is. We don't want that separate. Ah, confusing. So I've obviously done something at some point to think that I want it to look a certain way, and then played with it. I remember playing with this, but I've obviously had two separate ideas of how I want it to work. And that should run around to the top there. So cheek runs round. I think I am going to have to fill in this space, you know. Just put that filled in and pull this edge in slightly, and I think we've got ourselves our jaw and cheekbone running around. But actually lift this up so it's, you know, not as flat there. Yeah, nice. Then I can probably pull this down. Just having a look. That's one hell of an underbite, overbite, something bite. Nice, okay. I do want some separation here as well. I don't want... Oh, let's turn off snapping. I don't want the teeth to be in the way. And the teeth themselves. I don't think I need teeth. I think that'll be a bit over the top. So let's dissolve some vertices. Yeah, this is me thinking I need one thing and I don't. I don't need that at all. So let's not complex the model any more than it needs to be. And I think we just need the mouth area to come out a little bit more. So that... Let's grab all of these vertices and just move them forward ever so slightly. And this up. Yeah, that looks much better. If I had more geometry, I'd shape it a bit neater around there. But that... It looks like a happy skeleton. Do we want a happy skeleton? I think we should have a happy skeleton. I'm going to move this edge inwards a little bit more. See how that looks. Yeah, that looks much better. And I'm going to make the thickness of this a little bit smaller again. I think that was far, far too thick. Now, the shape of the skull at the moment is very squat. It looks a little bit childlike, which is okay. That could be a look that we go for. I just want to see if I select everything, can I scale it? I think it's just... Hello. Okay. Yeah, I think scaling it just on the Z-axis a little bit helps out. And again here, I'm going to grab... I'm just having a look at my reference material, going back and forward, trying to work out why it doesn't look quite right. And I think this needs to come forward slightly as well, so that when we're looking at the model, we'll get the right button in a moment. Yeah, we've not got it having this huge, great big grin where it's not necessary. And I think I'm also going to move this vertex point here forward a little as well. This one here. Yeah, I think the fact I'm trying to make it curve up is not helping me with my smiley face issue. There we go. Now, the nose bit here, I'm going to pull that forward ever so slightly. Even though I'm not creating a nose, I don't want it to be recessed too much, because it's not recessed. You've still got the bit at the very top, which I suppose is this area here that I can bring out and forward. Maybe even this one as well, bring it forward ever so slightly, just to have that the brow shaped appropriately. Nice. I like that a lot. Starting to think he's too squashed on the y-axis as well. So again, just a small tweak to see if it makes a difference. I like that. Smooth shading on. In fact, smooth shading all across the model. And I want to make sure... I did write a script for this in the past, but I've recently learned that Auto Smooth, if you want to apply it to your entire model, notice it's just affecting the head at the moment. I usually set this a bit higher as well, maybe 45 degrees. But if you want it to affect your entire model, you hold down Alt, which is a really... Is it on a tooltip now? No. But there we go. That's... awesome. Let's add a bit of color to him as well. So we're going to need a... and I don't know whether this is going to animate properly. I'm going to actually export it to Mixamo to see whether or not it works as expected. If it does, that's absolutely phenomenal. I don't know why I've typed in Annie, because I was thinking about animation, probably. Let's make this slightly bony, like so. Change our shading over to flat and pick the material. Unfortunately, we've got face orientation turned on. A little bit more yellowy. These are older bones. Something like that. And then make sure that the rest of the model shares materials. So Control and L and link those materials. Nice. So that's flat shaded. It should inherit the... material from the object. Let's make sure that we've got that set up over here. I've got kind of fallen a bit in love with using Workbench wherever possible recently. I don't know why. I just find it's very, very quick and easy to bring a model together and share it, and rendering is super quick. Yeah, that looks awesome. I love it. Right. Let's sort out our collection and other groups here and do a tiny bit of nailing. Nailings? This isn't helmet. Oh, no. What's the other one called then? Helmet 001? Helmet with... oh. Nice. Let's call this skull. We've got spine. You know what? I'll come back to name. You guys don't want to watch me name hundreds of bones. That's something I can do offline. The next thing I want to do is just test it. So let's make sure we've got a skeleton collection, so we know which collection we're doing. I'm going to export as a GLT. No, I want to take it out. So export as this active collection. Will that work? I'm going to go around the way that I know will work. So let's just export as GLTF would be great to bring it straight into Godot. We don't want to do that just yet. We do want just mesh data to come across. Limited to the selected objects. That's absolutely fine. Now we need to apply our modifiers if it's got an option, which is down here. Export subdivision. No. Have we got an option to apply modifiers? Am I being blind? There. Okay. Apply transforms. That's not what I want to do in this particular case. I thought there was an option here to apply modifiers. Perhaps that's just under GLTF. Because I'll try it. I do want face, and there isn't any armature at the moment, so that's fine. Export as an FBX. And let's go to downloads. Pop. Skeleton. I think only half of it's going to be there. No, it's worked. Awesome. It needs to be in a T-pose, though. I cannot just leave it as it is. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure the algorithm won't work on it. So let's sort that out now. So let's make sure we've got parenting sorted out, and then the rest should happen naturally. I think I could get away with selecting all of that, selecting this, going pair object, and then just rotating this. Yeah, that works. But I do want the pivot point to be the 3D cursor, and then I can kind of place the 3D cursor roughly in the right place and rotate outwards, like so. That is awesome. I do want to rotate this as well, so just on the x-axis there, and rotate it on the Z, pull it back slightly. Yeah, that looks good to me. Let's realign it, otherwise it's not in its socket. GZ, pull it below the shoulder bone, like so. Okay, make sure you're actually referencing the right angle when you're doing things like this. So let's pop that in there like so. Let's look at it from the side. So it's just gone through the collarbone. That's collarbone, shoulder bone. And of course, this now needs to be moved so it is on top. And then I think we can export. Exciting. So let's bring that down with some movement of the other things as well. About there. Ooh. It's a bit more difficult now. Oh, what did I just do? I just hit it. Okay, so it takes me a few minutes, and then I start hiding things instead of moving them. Nice to know. Okay. Let's bring that up. Perfect. Okay. So we've got our... He's ready to go. He's T-posed. Let's make sure we save our work just in case it now crashes, because that's the first time I think I've saved in a while. It will remember the previous settings. Let's just go and go to Mixamo. I'll bring the screen over in a moment. Recently done a tutorial about this, as well as using a script. So I know that Mixamo have just developed, or Adobe have just bought them, and they've developed a Mixamo integrated stuff, which is pretty awesome. Do I usually continue with that? I don't know. Not now. Just let me use the software. Right, let's upload. Select a character file. Where did I put it? In downloads. Not in uploads, but downloads. Perfect. Did I select the right one? I kind of just did it automatically. I don't know what I uploaded there. Just upload character, select character file, skeleton. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's uploaded fully. So let's just do a tiny bit of work on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I say, save my file. But usually what I do when it comes to this type of stuff is I duplicate the work that I'm working on and move it to its own collection called export, because it's very tempting at this point to solidify everything down, to apply all of your modifiers and everything else, only to have to come back and tweak something. And because I'm at that tweaking stage at the moment, I don't want to lose my skeleton. But now I can hide my skeleton out of the way. I can just have a look at the export collection, which is what's in front of me here. I'm going to go through the motions. So I'm going to apply rotation and scale. And we can see here that's changed some of the modifiers that we had, because we had scales applied. So yes, we don't want that to be stupidly thick like it was. I believe the rib cages also followed suit, so we can once again sort of scale that back to the right level. The skull, how's that doing? Yeah, that looks okay to me, and everything else looks okay, which is nice. I'm going to play with those shoulder blades, but for the moment we'll leave them where they are. Okay, now that we've got everything here, I'm going to select everything and go Object, Convert to Mesh. That's going to automatically apply all of my thingies, all of my modifiers and everything else to my model. Finally, I'm just going to grab something like the hip and then join everything together. It's now one solid mesh called skeleton, and we know at this point in time that it will be exported perfectly fine. It is hovering above the ground though, so I will also sort that out, and then I'll set the origin to the object to the, not the 3D cursor, but to, yeah, I do want it the 3D cursor, but I'm going to have to move the cursor to the world origin first. There we go. Right click, set origin, 3D cursor. Save, and let's try exporting again. Just overwrite what we had previously, and then let's go over into Mixamo, upload a character, select the character file. Hopefully it shall work this time. I'm going to have a drink as we go. It's certainly taking longer, which would mean it's not just a collarbone this time. I think that's what exported last time. Hey, there we go. And okay, those heels are really large. So again, that's something I'm going to have to play with. Chin. Well, we know exactly where the chin is because we're marking points of the skeleton. So we can honestly say exactly where these things are. And the groin, well, it's kind of there. Full skeleton. You don't have to do that, of course. I've got my fingers crossed here because if this works, this is going to be so much fun. Come on. Auto rigger. Oh. Still thinking. Again, this is a much more complicated mesh actually than Aria was. That is awesome. Nice. What should we get him doing? This one. Why not? That is all kinds of awesome. We're literally animating bones at this point. Now, it is kind of important, and I can see straight away here where the shoulders are. It's not detected the actual bone position, and so I don't know if this is very easy to see, but you can see the bone is bending. Now, that's kind of... It won't be unless you're me or someone like me analyzing a game as you're playing it, you won't be going, oh, look, that bone is bending. It shouldn't be bending. So it is one of those things you can genuinely get away with. It really is. But yeah, that is awesome. That's worked really well. I wonder if Jan, are you still watching? Get this across to him. Now, because of this, when I download the... yeah, that's fine. We can download the model there. And I just want to show you something real quick. Because I can now apply tons of animations to our model. Now, I don't know if I need to do this. Again, I'm going to save my file here. And open up... No, a new file. Let's do a new file. And then I'm going to run my import script. So let's open up Mixamo import script. So I wrote an import script. You download all of the animations that you want from Mixamo into a folder. And we're going to have to put things in the right folder as well. Otherwise, it won't work. So what did we just download? We just downloaded... This is the name of the animation, basically. So we can go and grab that one and pop it. I'm trying to remember where I dumped my stuff. I think it was in here. Yes, here. So we see Animations RPG. That's the folder that we're going to use. Okay. So that's pretty awesome. But what we should be able to do now is... Oh, no, I'm not going to run my script. The whole point of this was not to run the script. Although it would probably still work. I'm just a little concerned because all those other animations have mesh data in. Let's give it a go. Why not? It's live TV. Things will go wrong. I'm happy with that. So I want this to be the first animation that's loaded in. I presume if alphabetically it's been in like that. I'm not 100% sure that this will function as expected. What have I just broken? Yeah, message in the console. Okay. What have I just broken? Your file isn't saved. Yes, of course. So let's save as skeleton. I did actually recommend people have the console open, so at least we know what the error message is now. I don't want to save it in there, though. I want to save it with the animations. So can I see that in here? No, I'm going to have to navigate there manually again. So Dropbox. It's this folder here that we need to put things in. So we save it, then we run the script. And that's actually doing a ton of stuff at the moment. I should have probably tested it with... Yeah, let's test it with a fewer animations. Otherwise, can I actually stop it? Yes. No. No, I can't. But that's fine. I'll just kill the process in a moment. So let's go into where we were before. And we've got a folder here just saying... Ah, there we go. So we've got a couple of animations in this folder. If we make sure that our... I've clicked on the background window. Let's make this full screen again. If we make sure that we've got... Where is it? Skeleton. And have... This one here is just called 1. Let's grab our 0 and put it in there. And then this hasn't functioned, so let's kill it. Relaunch. That's this. And we need to look into 1. And then it'll just run really quick, you see, rather than lots of animations. If anybody knows out there how you can use an import... So like FBX import, not as an operation. I don't think it's possible, but that's what causes the massive slowdown when you're importing 100 animations, because each time it has to refresh the interface, and the more stuff is there in there, the more time it takes to do anything, which is an absolute nightmare. But anyway, that's done. Can I just press go? There we go. Skeleton is in. Ah, yes, it did work. So I can... have this guy rigged and ready in a matter of minutes now, which is amazing. Non-linear animation. So we've got our animations here. This is what he'll look like if he's holding an axe. This will look like axe running forward. Nice. So these fingers have been ignored. By the looks of it, for some reason. Unless that finger's out on the animation, of course. That is entirely possible. Let's just hide the rig. No, the bones do seem to move. Or is that the thumb sticking out? That's an interesting one. Is that the thumb sticking out? I don't think it's animated the thumb correctly. But that's a small detail at this point in time. It works. Hey, let's get him in game. So I'm going to save that out now. I I don't think I need to save him with any animations. I think Jan can just use him because he has the same armature. That's the important thing. So I'm going to remove all of the animations that he comes with. And I'm going to set him to his rest position. That always makes me laugh. Doink! Is he definitely on the ground? He is. Perfect. So he has all of his bones there and everything. And I think the only thing left to do is to export as a GTLF. Just going to call it skeleton for the moment. We want to include the selected objects. Well, actually just everything in the scene. Yep, all of that. Ah, yes. Oh, I was confused earlier about applying modifiers. I thought it was a thing that existed in FBX. It obviously doesn't. Or it just applies them automatically. Or I was being blind, one or the other. Animation. Well, there isn't actually any animation, but we do have a rig to export along with it. So that looks fine. Let's export that. Perhaps in the rest position instead. Export GTLF skeleton. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to get that off to Jan now, but I think I'm done for now. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, before I sign off and disappear, does anybody have any questions for me? I will just ping this across to Jan, and hopefully he'll be all excited because, yeah, we'll have a character. Now, we have been playing with like an alternative Aria for the moment. She looks very much like a goblin or something like that. She's bright green, but there's loads of exciting stuff coming up, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm just going to ping this across now to Jan. Hopefully, there isn't any more work to be done. I think because this particular model has the appropriate armature with it, we can just say, hey, swap out the meshes in game. That's what we're hoping for. And obviously, I'd love to see this thing blown apart. Yeah, there are a few things I will tidy up, like this geometry around here. Probably pull, now that I can see where the shoulder joint is. Pull it out a bit further and just animate it. If it's slightly, I mean, skeletons can't stay together by themselves anyway, so if an arm is slightly floating away from the rest of the body, that's fine with me. That's absolutely fine. Nice. So there we go. Let's just check if anybody has any questions. Hey, you're more than welcome. I hope to do this again really soon. I don't know what the next topic will be on, or whether it'll just be a couple more videos, but I've really enjoyed doing live streams. I don't know why. Not scared, it's not quite the right word, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me. I know it's been a bit of a quieter afternoon. Most people will probably still be at work and things like that. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! Oh, I've been signed out. I might still be streaming at the moment. Literally signing me out in the middle of a stream. Hey.